coming to you live from Los Angeles, and today I am bringing another video regarding the UFC MMA world. So this will not be a cryptocurrency video. Even though I like crypto and fighting, right? That's what this channel is all about. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about as to what's going to be next for Conor McGregor after that UFC 257 loss against Dustin Poirier. And I just want to say that I just don't see, um, you know, I just don't see a good PR going down if they were to do a sudden rematch. And I also feel like it wouldn't be for the belt. Um, so realistically, I think Conor McGregor is probably going to have to fight someone else besides Dustin Poirier. But whenever we consider, the image for Conor and also Dustin Poirier themselves, just those two, I'm very confident that they will actually would prefer to go against each other. But when you consider the rankings and just how everything works, right? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, why would you do a rematch immediately against Conor when you just beat him, even though it is 1-1 apiece in terms of them beating each other. So I've always said that a good fight for Conor right now to really prove himself, a good fight for Conor right now that would really, really, put his image right where he is, especially if he can do it in a spectacular fashion, is beat Tony Ferguson. I think a fight between Tony and Conor makes a lot of sense. But just to really, you know, mention, it's just really hard, to see the UFC doing another third bout between Conor and Dustin Poirier. So we're gonna have to really see what happens, and as to what they're gonna do. But I know that those two fighters would just prefer to fight each other, and that's simply because for Dustin it's the money fight, and for Conor it's just to reset his image and see if he can get the best of three fights. So um, right now, Connor is well. When you look at the rankings, even though I don't think it's a very I don't know if it's actually updated or not, but it probably is. But right now, Connor is sitting at sixth place. Tony is five. Michael Chandler is four. Charles Oliveira is three, and Justin Gaethje is two. And first place is Dustin Cormier, and Khabib being the lightweight champion um is still there. So. I think what makes sense right now, if Khabib were to be out of this, would be if Dustin can wait for Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira to fight, because Justin just had a fight with Khabib. Um, and then they can do Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler, and then they can do Tony Ferguson and Conor McGregor, and I think that would make perfect sense. And then, hey, I'll add this one too. They can do RDA and Dan Hooker for 7 and 8. So all of those really make sense. Um, but if Khabib, vacates that title, um, then it can be Dustin Poirier just waiting to see, who the winner of Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira would be, because um, if Khabib's not fighting, Dustin Poirier is fighting, and then the winner of 2 and 3 will probably get to fight Dustin, not Justin, for the belt. So, but I know exactly what the situation is. I have a pretty good idea of what the situation is in the lightweight division. I know that I believe Khabib, what I see. Khabib is actually saying, "Hey, I want to fight GSP. I want someone that's number one. For his 30th fight. He wants to come put on the show. GSP, someone he always wanted to fight, but I feel like GSP is asking for so much money to the point where the UFC is just not able to do it. I mean, he might be asking for $50 to $100 million to come and compete one more time against Khabib. I mean, considering it would be one of the highest purchased pay-per-views, then there would it would leave a very small margin for the company to make money, and yet they'd be giving out so much money to a fighter. So um, now is it possible these two get matched up? Yeah, but again, it's up to the UFC. It's up to the numbers. But I mean, who wouldn't want to see Khabib against GSP? So it's still up in the air. I feel like GSP's taking his time, waiting. Staying in shape, and probably Khabib is doing the same thing. But realistically, I don't know. I mean, how old is GSP? Whenever we look at this, let's see really quickly. GSP, um, he's 39 years old, man. So when you consider that too, I mean, I think Khabib would win that fight pretty easily. So yeah, I mean, GSP's up there. So if anything, GSP's got is probably one more big fight. But we don't even know if we'll ever see him fight again in the octagon. Because I mean, the dude is rich. GSP's a really smart dude. He made it himself in the game. So good for him. And yeah, I mean, we're just gonna have to wait and see as to how this division is gonna play out. And that's Dana White's words, as he always says. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, it really depends. I mean, I think, like I said, I think if Khabib isn't fighting, which let me make a prediction. If I were to say, if I were placing money, is Khabib gonna come back and fight? I think eventually he might, but I think again in the short term, I mean, I think right now he'll vacate the title. But then the thing is, if he vacates the title, then I mean, how is he really gonna come back? So I'm not really sure how that's gonna work out either. But he can't just be holding up the division, and I'm sure he's aware of that. So I mean, what other fight would be there for Khabib? I mean, it can be Dustin Poirier because Dustin Poirier beat Justin Gaethje too. So I mean, you know, Dustin finished Conor. Conor finishes Dustin, but then Dustin got the upper hand this time. And then when you also consider he's got that win over Justin Gaethje, yeah, I mean, Khabib could take that fight against Poirier, and that would be a pretty good fight. So, I'm sure actually that Dustin Poirier would do a fight with Khabib as well. So, just to mention that out there as well, that's another possibility for Khabib if he wants to think about it. And I actually think Dustin, I think that would be a great fight between Dustin and Khabib. I think they would put on a spectacular show. I think they both have a good ground game. For the most part, I think like a third of Dustin Poirier's victories are submissions. So I mean, the dude's got the ground game, he's got the wrestling, he's got the clinch skills. And we certainly saw that in the Conor McGregor fight. So yeah, I mean, Khabib and Dustin can do a bout definitely. I mean, that certainly makes sense right now when you look at the rankings. But it's up to Khabib whether or not he wants to come back and fight. There can be a money situation. I feel like Khabib wants GSP, but then he can't just wait and see what happens and hold up the division for the belt and for the belt. So um, you know, Justin Gate, I know there was a situation with Khabib's dad passing, and then there was that one more fight with Justin Gaethje, in which he got the victory. So it's entirely up to him whether or not he wants to take this fight. I think he'll do one more. But I mean, what Khabib can realistically do is fight Dustin Poirier for his 30th bout and just call it there. And I think that'll be good too. He can stop now at 29-0, or he could do one more and go 30-0. So I think Dustin makes sense for Khabib. I mean, when you really consider what Dana White said, mentioning how much views and the sellout, the pay per view got between Conor and Dustin. I think if I'm not mistaken, he said that that was the second highest they got. So, one with Khabib and Dustin would definitely also do really well. So, and I say this too because the Conor and Dustin rematch is always there. So that's not going anywhere. And then nor are the rest of the fighters that are in that division. But whenever you got Khabib there, that's the champion and wants to retire, then it's like, okay, what do we do with this guy? Do we let him hold up the division? Do we give him one more fight? And then it's up to Khabib at the same time too. But I just want to say, if the UFC calls Khabib right now, January 26, 2021, they say we'll give you $50 million to come and fight GSP. We got a contract. We got a fight with GSP for you. I think he'll take it. So. Again, I think that's what the situation is, but obviously, I think GSP is playing it smart and patiently, and I think he's asking for a lot of money, and he's probably not going down from his position in terms of how much he's asking for. And this entire thing is a business. UFC is a business, mixed martial arts is a business. So well, it's a sport first, then it's a business because I really look at I personally look at health more important than money, because if you got no health, you ain't getting no money. Um, yeah, I mean, GSP is asking for a lot, in my opinion. But again, Khabib, I think, can take the fight against Dustin Poirier, and I think he'll be satisfied that Dustin Poirier will, for the most part, give him a run for his money in terms of competing against them. And I think actually, for some reason, I feel like Dustin will do better against Khabib, in contrast against Conor, because Dustin's ground game is much better. He's got that grappling ability. I feel like his upper body is a little bit heavier for Dustin, because I feel like when you looked at Conor and Dustin at UFC 257, Dustin looked huge, on his upper body. So that's really good with wrestling. So I mean, yeah, I mean, Khabib Dustin makes a lot of sense. And then Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira can fight, and then Tony Ferguson and Conor can fight. Um, this is if Khabib is gonna fight Dustin. So if Khabib and Dustin fight, let's just say, then it can be Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira. And then as for Michael Chandler, what Michael Chandler can realistically do is wait for the winner of Tony and Conor, and then he would get a huge fight. I think Michael Chandler's built a name for himself. The UFC promoted him so much ever since late last year. I was even annoyed of hearing Michael Chandler, man, but when he competed against Dan Hooker, I was like, holy smokes. The way he just kicked Dan Hooker to the cage, I was like, wow, he literally kicked him like a soccer ball, and the dude like flew to the cage and then lands a big right hook and just puts Dan Hooker to the ground. I'm like, man, this dude is for real. And we didn't even get to see his grappling and wrestling abilities. So I mean, yeah, I mean, Michael Chandler definitely lived up to the name ever since his promotion in early December, late November, something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, that dude is a beast, and he looked huge. He looked stocky. He looked a little short, but hey, I mean, he came to prove that someone that's more taller than him isn't gonna make a difference. Because man, the way he just put Dan Hooker to the mat was absolutely stunning. I thought that fight was gonna be a war. Dan Hooker was the favorite in that fight, and Michael Chandler was the underdog. But oh man, the way that fight ended, those odds should have been the opposite way. So, yeah. So, I mean, Khabib and Dustin can fight. Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje can fight, considering Justin just had a shot at the belt. And then Michael Chandler. I mean, they can also do Michael Chandler and Tony Ferguson, and then they can also do Conor and RDA. That makes sense too. So I mean, it really depends. But personally, I would love to see Tony Ferguson and Conor McGregor, go at it against each other, because I think a fight between Tony and Conor would be, a great bout too. So Um, especially if we get to see the old Tony Ferguson, and especially if we also get to see the Conor McGregor that yeah. Oh, holy smokes! I was actually disconnected there for a second. But yeah, I was mentioning that if we get to see the old and classic Conor McGregor come back and do a fight against a Tony Ferguson, especially with the two of them making noise, I think that would also be a really good sell. So everybody knows Tony Ferguson, everybody knows Conor McGregor, so that can certainly be a fight to make. I mean, they're both coming off of a loss. So yeah, I mean that can be a really good fight too. But again, right now it's entirely up to Khabib. As to what he wants to do. But hey, if I were him, I mean he can't really hold up the division for too long. So if Khabib's not coming back, then that changes everything. Because then Dustin Poirier is obviously getting gonna be fighting for the belt, and then they can do 2-3 and then 4-5. Um, But yeah, I mean they can go either way. They can do RDA and Dan Hooker too. That would be a good one. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what the lightweight division situation is right now. So it's just entirely up to Khabib whether or not he wants to continue fighting, or if he wants to vacate the belt and actually announce his legitimate retirement, and then that would clear things up as to who fights who next. So but yeah, right now, obviously, the point is that Khabib's got a position, big position, and he's the champ. So we'll wait and see how things play out, just like Dana White says. Drop some comments, guys. Let me know if you guys think Khabib is gonna fight for the belt again, and whether or not you guys think he'll come back for his 30th fight, and if so, let me know who. Also, let me know if you guys think who Conor McGregor is gonna fight next, and as to what's for him next, because he just lost to Dustin Poirier, and there's about 3 to 4 fighters up there that Conor can take a fight with, and any of those fights, I think Conor would have a a run for his money, because everybody up there is good. Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson, they're all going to bring it. So, yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think is next for Conor McGregor, and let me also know if you guys think how the lightweight division is gonna play out. And guys, please like my channel and subscribe to my channel as well. I mean, like my video and subscribe to my channel, and also yeah, drop those comments. And then probably later on today, I'll make a crypto video. I know the cryptocurrency market is kind of in a stalemate right now. BTC just holding at 32 grand. And yesterday I mentioned vector space, man. That thing is not going to be going down, and it is holding. So that's all I got for now, guys. Let me know what you guys think of your thoughts and opinions as to how the lightweight division and called the future of Conor McGregor is going to play out. And up until later on, I'll catch you guys later. Bye bye.